Awesome. Hello everybody, my name is Rondell Gladue and I am 38 years old. I currently reside in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I am creating a YouTube channel here just to kind of speak on my journey, my experience with health, nutrition, and I'm also incorporating a little bit with culture. My culture in specific is I am part First Nations, Indigenous, Native American. My father is Nehiyaw Cree, Cold Lake First Nations, and I believe we've got some Métis happening back there too. And then my mother is Finnish, she's European. And my mother, she's Finnish, Swedish, and a wee bit Irish. Possibly some more happening there, I'm not too sure. So basically my journey, it's focusing on nutrition. I personally, myself, I am a retired police officer. I spent just over 8 years serving as a member with law enforcement, and then I decided, that's enough, time to get out of there. Having a family, getting married, that became my priority versus being like a crazy workaholic and doing a crazy job and putting myself in harm's way. But I had a lot of fun doing it. It was pretty rad and all that stuff. But I switched gears and got out of there and focused on my health, my physical health, my mental health, my spiritual health. And these days I'm a stay-at-home mom. But sorry, to go back though, once I was exiting my career as a police officer, I decided to take some time to study nutrition, and I took it from a holistic perspective. So after a year of studying nutrition, I became a certified holistic nutritionist. I didn't really practice that much. I just kind of did it for more personal reasons and just personal interest and knowledge. And I like to share it with certain people, but I just didn't end up practicing. I partnered up with my now husband. We got into a few businesses, such as operating food trucks and concessions, and a restaurant we did for a little bit, but then we kind of backed out of that. Now we're kind of managing our catering business, and gosh, what else? Spin off into a product that we have. We do wholesale distribution, and it's a bison jerky. I guess you could call it a jerky. It's a traditional meat in the Indigenous culture. We know it as bunsawan, and it's pretty awesome. It's just all natural, just thin sliced bison meat, dried, smoked, delicious. Really good with high fat foods such as butter, avocados. Old schools like to have it with lard and just salt, and it's good that way too. But anyways, so now these days I kind of help out with the business aspect of things a little bit from home. But we have now 2 toddlers. One is currently about 3.5, and the other one's going to be 2 pretty quick here. So, and they keep me busy. But it's awesome though. I love it. But in the meantime, I've been toying around with different ways of eating. Like, I had plant-based eating grilled and drilled into me, like through my training at school with the holistic nutrition. Although they did incorporate some a unit there that involves some teachings of Weston Price, who was a dentist, famous earlier in the 20th century there, mid-century. He went traveling around the world, and he actually was able to meet up with some tribes of some other indigenous people that were super, super healthy. And he was comparing their diets with that of the more modern colonized diets, and then their health and the differences and all that kind of stuff. And he put down his observations and made suggestions of what the ideal nutrition was there. And I'm really happy that we covered that in our training, because everything else was just plant-based, go plant-based, it's the best. And for me, I was like, okay, well, at the end of the course, I decided, okay, let's go plant-based, let's try it out. And ultimately ended up trying going vegan for like, I think it was 3 or 6 weeks. It wasn't very long, and I was doing the vegan thing. I was getting all my proteins. It was like I was trying to go as organic as possible. Juicing even a little bit involved there. Trying to do as much raw as I could. Just, trying to be all awesome about it, and trying to be balanced with it, and trying to do the right thing. And I had to quit. I was just had a voracious appetite for red meat. Like, seriously, your girl needed a steak, your girl needed a burger, something, man. I had to just totally stop that vegan life, man. I could not do it. And my husband was doing it with me. I had talked him into doing it, and he outlasted me, and I couldn't do it, man. And then I figured out, oh my god, I was craving this meat, and I stopped being vegan. I was eating meat. I just was so happy about that. But then I found out, I was pregnant. So I was pregnant with my second son. And so I kind of intuitively felt that those cravings were my body telling me, yo, Rondell, smarten up, you got a baby coming now. You're you got one coming here, so you gotta get your nutrition back on track, get yourself some meat and do this right. So, and that's what I did. I'm so glad. My boys are super healthy, awesome, everything's all gravy. They just, they're busy, they're growing, they keep me going. And so eventually though, I had that extra baby weight as a mom, and I kind of just was slowly, losing the weight. Nothing too crazy, wasn't going too into it. But then I always wanted to try the ketogenic diet. The keto diet, was researching it, reading it, trying to figure out, what's the best way to approach it. I was cautious though, because in my schooling, my training again, they had drilled it into us that a diet high in meat is not good for you. You can get gout, it's bad, you produce too much uric acid, don't do it, be careful. You must have a balanced diet and all this stuff. But then it was confusing, because then when we did that chapter with Weston Price and talking about his approach to nutrition, it was completely different. But okay, so I had that still in the back of my head, that training, it was on exams everywhere, why we can't eat too much meat. And I was like, all right, okay. And a lot of my instructors there, I think there was a few vegan and definitely supporters of the plant-based diet. So of course they really helped promote that when they were teaching that. So it's, of course I was obviously swayed by their views. But after going keto, oh man, it was so awesome. And then I'm just following all these certain people on social media, getting all this information, and I learned about keto carnivore diet, and I was like, what? Hello? What is this? And it just really made more sense to me. It resonated more. Viewing it as more of even an ancestral diet, a diet that's really something that was significant with my indigenous culture. That would have been an ancestral diet where, my ancestors on my father's side, they would have eaten a lot of meat for thousands of years, and they were very strong, they were very healthy, they were, hunting buffalo on foot. Like, come on, they were super awesome, right? And then comes along colonization, and that totally changed things, right? And with Indigenous people, especially like where I'm at in Canada, there's statistics revealing that Indigenous people are facing a lot of health issues, and a lot of it's diet related, nutrition related because of the way things have changed. And that's a big issue, right? And then you got people living up in the Northwest Territories, for example, where the winters are long and they're cold, and people can't do a plant-based diet up there, man, because like, what's the cost of a head of lettuce up there? It's ridiculous. Or a carton of milk. It's ridiculous. The way they used to live, or some still do, is just a lot of hunting and subsisting off the meat of the animals up there. But then things are changing, right? Things are changing, so it becomes an issue. But I don't know. To me, I have to say though, things need to change, and the common view of what we should be eating and what's actually healthy, I think it'd be really changed if we really all took a hard look at keto carnivore diet. And there's a lot of other people out there that are talking about this that know a lot more about it than me, but what I think I could share, what I can offer to this community and to help share with others is the knowledge from the elders in my family, or in even my extended family, my in-laws, everybody like that. I think they have some pretty awesome knowledge. For example, some elders that I know, they've eaten certain foods growing up as children, and they thought they were just poor and that's all they could afford, and maybe that was the case, but they were super, super healthy when they were growing up, and they were eating things such as a bite of liver off a fresh kill raw, and I was told that is amazingly delicious. Nothing like the store-bought liver that you get nowadays. Like, there's a big difference, right, when it's fresh. And other things such as eating marrow from the bones, how they extract it. I'm very curious and wanting to share that, and to understand myself these different methods of preparing foods, simple foods that I think a lot of us could access if we were able to harvest animals on a carnivore level, from that perspective, nose to tail, with less waste of the animal. And I think it's a more sustainable approach for people that don't wish to go vegan. And that's a big debate. If veganism is more sustainable, I don't think that it is. But I'll save that conversation for another day. But I think the carnivore or ancestral diet approach is more sustainable for our earth. From my perspective and from my experience and in my lifestyle, totally. So to be able to have this knowledge of how to prepare these foods, how to eat them, how to enjoy them, and how to thrive on these type of foods, I think is huge and can really help a lot of people. Because you know what? I don't know how to make a lot of these cultural foods, and I want to be able to share that. I want to be able to share that with others. So I want to learn, and I want to share it, and I want to preserve that knowledge with my family. So I hope that we can do this. We can move forward, and this is the start of something. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But I think it'll be pretty cool. So, all right, my video is going on to almost 15 minutes, so I better stop talking. Can't believe I've been doing that. But anyways, peace, Ixamaga, love you guys. Thank you for listening.